Story for the hour. We are joined by editor NPR Mujibur Rahman from Washington, D.C. to discuss U.S. protests erupt after Minneapolis shooting. Thank you so much for joining Pakistan TV. First thing I would really want to ask that what do we know about the circumstances surrounding the shooting of Alex Pretti in particular, and what questions remain unanswered?
Thank you so much. What we know so far is another unfortunate incident where a U.S. citizen was shot dead by ICE. It's the second death and third shooting in January alone, where federal agents are involved. So the circumstances, again, the same thing. There are two different stories we're hearing, one from the Department of Homeland Security, and the other one is based on evidence that we see in videos. What we know is Jeffrey Pretti, he was an ICU nurse at Minneapolis Veteran Affairs Hospital with no criminal record, was a legal and lawful gun owner. So multiple videos, they show Pretti was recording agents intervening when an agent shoved a bystander and being pepper sprayed, tackled, and pinned to the pavement by several officers. Now, the DHS claims Pretti was armed and threatening, and that the shooting was in self-defense by the agents. It's just like the one we saw in Renee Goode, when clearly she was moving away from the agents and fleeing the scene. But multiple videos and witness affidavits contradict what the DHS is saying regarding the circumstances under which he was shot. Like multiple videos show he was on the ground and he was restrained by multiple agents. And also it shows that an officer apparently removing a firearm from his body before he was shot. Before the shots were fired, that one video is showing that the firearm was removed from his body. And then shots fired after he was completely subdued. So those are the circumstances. And as your question of what we know, what questions remain unanswered? Well, the main question is, why are these federal agents using lethal force in circumstances where they're clearly not under threat from the victims now? We saw this in the case of Renee Goode. She was completely unarmed, and then she was fleeing the scene, and the agent came in front of the car and started shooting at her, and she was shot multiple times in the face. So why the lethal force? That's the number one question. Why is this chaos being created? And then whether the next question is like whether, in this case, whether the agents removed his firearm before shots were fired or after. The video shows that it was removed before shots were fired. But now let's see how the legal process goes by. And then the people want to know which officer fired the fatal shots. Then another key question: why state investigators were reportedly blocked from accessing the scene? They were blocked in case of Renee Goode as well. And then people would also want to know whether there were some body cameras, and if there were they active, and whether the content will be released or not. So these unresolved questions are fueling widespread outrage and demands for independent investigations.
Right. And could these demonstrations basically lead to changes in any federal immigration enforcement or not?
Well, to briefly answer your question, I would say yes. There are some hopes and signs because there's already a congressional action underway where the Senate Democrats are leading an action. They are threatening to block the Department of Homeland Security Services funding unless they have the conditions. They say if the ISIS authority is curtailed or independent oversight is imposed, unless use of force rules are tightened, because here we have seen in many of these cases that the use of force rules are not tightened